Good morning, everybody. Now, I'm not here today, except that I sort of am, except I'm not really, but I am, but I'm not. So, as I'm not here today, even though I am, I want you to do some work without me, even though I'm here, because I'm not. So what I want you to do is I want you to, first of all, watch this video. Now, this video is it's a short clip. You can follow the link in Google Classroom, and it's a review of a film. And I think this gives you a clue this week in terms of classwork. There's a strong clue, in fact. So what I want you to do is watch this film. Now it's going to blend the two things we've been studying together in one. We've had a look at narratives and we've had a look at recounts. So I want you to get together in a group and create a recount of a narrative. So what you're going to do is you're going to form into a small group and you are going to give me a review of your favorite movie. And that's easier than it sounds and harder than it sounds at the same time, rather like me being here but not here. There are some very, very good reviewers out there, and there are some very, very bad ones. We've kind of split into this mess in terms of pop culture, where you've got the honest reviewers and you've got the shills. And I know you know what I'm talking about. What's happened slowly is the movie industry especially has become very, very powerful. And what it's done is it's kind of taken over all of the mainstream. So we've got things like I used to love the IMDb, the Internet Movie Database. It used to be very, very good. And it used to have a chat board, and it used to have reviews by honest people, and we'd talk about movies, we'd rate them, and then I could go on there and I could rate a bunch of movies, and I would know that other people have done the same, and I could trust what people thought. Now the IMDb sold. It sold out to the corporations, and they took over. So now when you go in the reviews, there'll be hundreds and hundreds of reviews for the popular movies written by usually Indians who are paid to do it. They're paid to give 10-star reviews. So you'll see all the same names, all in Delhi, and they're all saying, oh, movie very good, I like movie. And it's just nonsense. It doesn't help me choose a movie at all. They actually took away the chat board. There was news all about it on the mainstream saying, this is a good thing. We've taken people's opinions away from them. Fantastic, brilliant. And of course, those opinions had to go somewhere else. Now, most people didn't care. Most people just said, oh, well, never mind. I don't care. I'll just get on with my life. But some people decided that they were going to do something about it. So what most people in that situation did is launched YouTube channels, launched websites, and started doing reviews on their own, talking about what they thought about movies. And then it got a bit spiteful. So now we've got people like Screen Rant who are owned. They're called the Access Media. They have access to more information than other people because they work for these people, so they're shills. This happened with motorcycles as well. Motorcycle magazines used to come out and they'd show off the latest motorcycle. It'd be racing through twisty roads around a canyon, and the reviewers would come out and say, oh, this is the best motorcycle I've ever ridden. And then it turned out that the people making the motorcycles were paying for the reviewers, and it became big news in the motorcycle trade. And this was about 20 years ago. And then the egg started to crack open, and we started to realize everything was paid for. You know, the laptop magazines, mobile phones, everything was paid for reviews. And it's now the same thing with movies. So people like the Access Media, the shills, the Screen Rants of this world, they're all unreliable. So YouTube, that's where we go now to look at movie reviews, because those people are honest. They're just ordinary people like us talking about their favorite movies, or talking about movies that suck. Mostly things that suck. There's an old story in retail. If you upset somebody, they will go and tell 15 people. They will tell anything up to 15 people. So bad service, they'll go and tell their world. They'll tell everybody in their dog. But if you get good service, you're likely to only tell one person. And that's a factor of human nature. We are more motivated by the negative than by the positive. We're more motivated by anger and spite than we are by happiness. Happiness doesn't last, unfortunately. So bear that in mind. So I want you to go and do that as well. I want you to go out and create a YouTube video in your group. So follow the information there, follow the instructions on Google Classroom, get yourself into small groups, and then you're going to do a review of your favorite movie. So you have to pick one, and I want you to be original. Points here for originality. Have a look at people like The Critical Drinker. The Critical Drinker is actually a best-selling novelist who got bored. You know, he's made all the money he needs to survive, so now he sits in a room playing video games and being spiteful. He's actually nothing like his internet persona. There's another one, Nerdrotic. Nerdrotic is an American guy who's used to own a comic book shop, so he's very invested in comic book media. He talks about how comic book movies, especially Marvel, have changed into being something that isn't very good anymore for the audience. So there are people like those that discuss movies and do very well. There's Heels versus Babyface, he does it as well. There's lots of people that do this. You have to look a little harder to find them, but they're usually fairly honest because they grew up loving these stories and they want those stories told with respect. They don't want the politics, we don't want any of that crap in it. So those kind of people are good sort of guidelines of what I'm looking for. Now, people like Nerdrotic, all he does is sit in his room, in his studio, talking into the camera with a microphone in front of him. So he just discusses it. Heels versus Babyface is just in his bedroom, and he has a computer, and you can see that, and he's got a stream where he puts pictures and things up, and it's all done very low key. Critical Drinker's a little bit different. He doesn't like to be online. He doesn't like his face shown online. There's only a few videos where you even see him. So normally he just talks into a microphone and he runs videos of the image of the movie. So what he does, he shows bits of the trailers. That's a bit more dodgy because sometimes you get a copyright strike for it. Shouldn't, it's not against the law. It's called fair access, but unfortunately, YouTube doesn't care about the law anymore, so we get stopped for doing that. So I've given you a couple of links to different ways of doing it. So there's three different things there. There's one for a movie called Boss Level, which is a pretty violent movie, but it's a lot of fun. It's a pretty smart movie. There's another one for Archive, which is another movie I liked. And again, that's just me talking into a microphone. And there's one by Amy. Now, Amy's an AI. She's a broken computer bought from China who analyzes movies. So that one is just a joke. So have a look at those as examples. Have a look at the Critical Drinker, watch some movie reviews, and see what you think and what you want to do. Points for originality. Now, the Critical Drinker, for instance, isn't a drunk. I know it's a shock to your system. He's not actually a drunk. Nerdrotic sounds like he's very aggressive. He's not actually. He's just angry. He's not even that angry. He's actually a really nice guy. These people aren't their personas, so don't be afraid to put on something fake. Don't be afraid to have fun with this. Now the rules for this are, I want it presented by next Monday, the Monday when I am back to school normally, and we'll have a look at these before we start the review. Or I'll maybe look at them on I don't know, we'll figure that out later. So I want you to present these by Monday, so you have to create a YouTube video review of your favorite movie, as simple as that. Make it fun, make it interesting. It doesn't have to be funny. If you're not a funny person, don't try to be funny, but just do it in your own personal style. So get together. Now the rules are you don't have to be in front of a camera. Some people aren't comfortable in front of a camera. Your group might have nobody that wants to do this. I created Amy and Daisy because I didn't have a microphone. I couldn't afford one. I couldn't afford a good studio setup. So instead of buying a microphone, I found a way to use online artificial voices instead. So I could program a script, it would read the thing out for me in perfect quality, so I didn't need to mess around with a microphone. So that was why I did those. Sometimes I do it into a mic, because I have now a studio mic, so sometimes I'll record into a mic, I'll show the video in the background, and sometimes I'll just sit in front of a camera, which is a lot easier. Recording a video like this is simple. I've got my studio set up at home, all I do is switch on my camera, sit down and talk, and it makes for an easier video. I can shoot an hour-long video as quickly as I can speak an hour. It's as simple as that. If I want to put videos in the background, movies in the background, it takes a lot longer in editing. Unfortunately, my laptop has reached the end of its life. You probably noticed since I've started here this year, my videos have got excuse me, less and less interesting, and it's because my laptop's wearing out. The processor and it can't handle video anymore. When I process video now, my laptop gets very, very hot and starts to burn, and it just can't do it. So I can't now have multiple streams. Those of you that edit know what I'm talking about. You have the video streams, and I just can't keep putting more and more on it. My laptop can't handle it anymore. So you decide what you need to do to present your video. If you want a quick and simple video, write yourself a script and sit in front of a camera, in front of your mobile phone. Probably most of you have a mobile phone that's better than the quality of the camera I'm using right now. Microphones are usually a bit more difficult. I will admit that. Getting the sound quality right is very, very hard. I mean, I'm in a classroom where there's a horrible echo, and it is difficult. I'm using radio mics. I'm using Saramonic radio mics just to get a half decent quality sound out of this. Sound quality is very, very difficult, so don't be afraid and don't be worried if you're not getting good quality sound. It's not the end of the world. It is quite a hard thing to get right. Just try and do your best. What I'm more worried about here is that you do a good job. So a good script, an interesting angle, and make it fun. Now, it doesn't have to be funny. Some of you just aren't funny, and that's okay. Some of you just be yourselves, all right? Nerdrotic, for instance, is not funny. The humor and the amusement comes from watching someone who really, really loves what he's doing. That makes it interesting to watch him. Okay? Critical Drinker's quite funny because he uses interesting background images and he uses sound effects and he's sarcastic and makes jokes about himself. That works. That makes it interesting to watch. Other people do it in a different way. Some people attack. Even Screen Rant has an interesting way of doing it. They do the pitch meetings. There's a guy that does pitch meetings where he talks to himself. So one of them is the producer, one of them is the scriptwriter, and they're pitching ideas at each other, and they're both complete idiots. And that's funny to watch because he's mocking how bad these movies are as a review. So he's giving you a kind of a review, but presented as a pitch meeting. It's a clever idea, and it's done in a simple way. It's simple enough that he can make those videos every day. So do something original, do something creative, and have fun with it, okay? Be yourself, and on Monday I want you to present me a video. Now there's examples in Google Class. I've given you links to some videos that I've made. There's also plenty of other videos on YouTube. Go along, have a look around, and get together into your group. I know you're going to be online doing it. I know you're not going to be in one room doing it, and I know that creates difficulties and complications, but almost fell off the stage. But I think you can handle that. You're big boys and girls now. So that's what you're doing for the rest of this week. Okay, have fun.